Formula 1 heads over the Caspian Sea and towards Baku in Azerbaijan for the fourth round of the 2019 Formula 1 season. The third time that we are coming to Baku for a Grand Prix. The fourth time overall, if you like. Obviously, the first one being the European Grand Prix, and then the other two times being the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So this is the third race, if you like, where it's been called the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And if the other races have got anything to go by, I cannot wait for this Grand Prix, especially after the ball fest we had at the last Grand Prix for the Chinese Grand Prix, and obviously this Grand Prix means it is the 1001 Grand Prix, or the 1001st Grand Prix, if you like, if you want to put it in that context. So any celebrations or anything, we are not having it, because we're not going to hype this one up, if you like, because the last one, as like I said, was really, really boring. So just recapping what happened in China, if you need reminding, that is, and obviously there was only a handful of things that actually happened. Obviously Ferrari had an abysmal Grand Prix. The strategy did, obviously, as we all know, the strategy didn't work out for them. They lost out positions, obviously, to Red Bull. There was a massive carnage at the start, obviously Daniel Kvyat hitting the both McLarens, and obviously then the torpedo was back. Will it happen again in Azerbaijan? Obviously, only time will tell, and let's see what happens. Because obviously, the last time he was dubbed the torpedo after the fourth round, he was then obviously moved back to Toro Rosso, and then obviously replaced at Red Bull. But obviously, I don't think that will be the case this time round. So yes, obviously, it was wasn't really much of an eventful Grand Prix at China, and obviously the more that we forget about it, the better. And obviously look forward to Azerbaijan, where I cannot wait for this Grand Prix, like I've already stated. So obviously Mercedes, 3 1-2s in a row, 100% record, if you like, 130 points. It is absolutely, it's just crazy how much Mercedes have actually dominated this season, even though it hasn't really felt like they've actually dominated any Grand Prix. It's more towards Ferrari's fact of slipping up as to why the Mercedes is doing so well in the constructors, and that Ferrari are doing so bad. So the standings as things stand are currently on a 68 points is Lewis Hamilton in first place. In second place is his teammate Valtteri Bottas on 62 points. However, the first Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel is currently in fourth place on 37 points. 31 points behind championship leader Lewis Hamilton. This is a make or break race for Ferrari, if you ask me, because I think this point last season, Ferrari were doing really, really good. They actually won a Grand Prix, or by this time this season. In fact, they won two, coming into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix of last season. And even so, Lewis Hamilton did win his first Grand Prix at this last season, and obviously we weren't questioning his future at the time. So obviously, just proves how consistent Lewis actually is. And well, to be fair, what Ferrari got to show this season, a pole position and a podium. It was Ferrari's, two podiums, if you like. Obviously, Charles Leclerc getting on the podium in Bahrain, obviously unreliability as well, and then Vettel getting his first podium of the season last time out in Shanghai. Not what Ferrari wanted at all, and I'm going to go with what a lot of people are saying on social media and stuff, that this is a make or break race for Ferrari, because if they don't get anything here, then I can't see them getting anything at all, and Mercedes is just going to run away with it 1 and 2, because I can't see anybody else literally getting that second place unless there's just absolute madness happens, like we have seen in the past 2 years, and we get a surprise podium result like we have done the past 3 years. We've been to Baku, and Perez has had 2 podiums, more than anybody else randomly, and Lance Stroll getting a brilliant podium in 2017. He could have got P2 if he wasn't pipped by Valtteri Bottas at the very end. So if you want to compare the results coming into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from this season to last season, so obviously this season, as like I said, obviously Lewis Hamilton is on 68, Valtteri Bottas is on 62, and Sebastian Vettel is on 37 points. At this stage last season, he had Sebastian Vettel on 54 points, Lewis Hamilton on 45 points, and Valtteri Bottas on 40 points. So you can see how much of a difference that there actually is between the two, between the three drivers, and the two teams rather are Mercedes on 130 points, Ferrari on 73 points this season. Obviously Mercedes being 57 points ahead. Last season it was Mercedes on 85 points, Ferrari on 84 points, so only 1 point difference now, and obviously now 57 points. It's just crazy, absolute craziness, and that's what I'm saying about it being a make or break race, because if you're looking at the next 2 Grand Prix in Spain and Monaco, it's going to be very, very difficult to overtake. And for me personally, I can see Mercedes dominating those Grand Prix, if you like, and Ferrari aren't going to have an answer to that. a 1-2 was probably the minimal Ferrari could really ask for this weekend to really kickstart the championship hopes. Because I mean, Vettel could win the Grand Prix, but let's say Leclerc's in P6, that's not enough. In my opinion, I think both Ferraris have to be on the podium this weekend. Anything less, I think Ferrari's season, I think you could obviously write their season off if you like. And I know it's only round 4, and I know I'm just jumping the gun already, but the form that Mercedes is showing, I can't say them slipping up. Mercedes don't slip up under pressure. Ferrari have been. So I'm obviously going to favour the Mercedes rather than the Ferrari, even though I want an even championship. But for me, Mercedes just don't like slipping up whatsoever. So yes, I think to be fair, obviously, whatever you guys think as well, if you agree with me or not, and then just obviously leave your opinions in the comment section below. But this is definitely make or break race for Ferrari. But obviously on a random topic as well, if you want to leave your predictions in the comment section below, then please do so as well. Your top 3, top 5, your top 10, or even if you want to go the full shebang and predict your top 20. So jumping on to my predictions as well. Now this is probably one of the hardest predictions I've actually had to make this season, barring the first Grand Prix, because obviously you don't know where everybody is. Now, despite everything that's going on, I went with these predictions with just literally guessing. If I'm not going off form, I'm not going off performance, I'm not going off performances off the previous Grand Prix at this particular circuit in Baku. I'm just going off random what I think could happen, because as like I said, the past 2 Grand Prix have been absolutely brilliant, and I hope that we do get something just as good, if not better, than we have done the past 2 years. So 3rd place, I'm going with Valtteri Bottas. Now, obviously, his form in the season has been a win in Australia, then 2 second places, both in China and Bahrain, respectively. But bearing in mind that if you remember at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix last season, he was on for the race win after just some carnage at the front. Obviously, the 2 Red Bulls coming together as well. That was just absolutely amazing. And then obviously the safety car that went away, Vettel was in front, he locked up. Both Mercedes obviously got past him. So obviously another moment where Vettel just almost ruined his race. He could have won that Grand Prix, fair and square. Ferrari's pace was just unbelievable that season, and then Bottas was ahead. Next thing you know, he was leading the pack, and then he got a puncture. So, and obviously more drama on that Grand Prix. Then Hamilton took a very lucky win, if you like. And obviously, if that race didn't pan out like it did, then Hamilton would have been waiting up until possibly race 5 for his first win of the season. And then again, none of us would have even questioned Hamilton's ability, Hamilton's form this season. Has he lost his touch? No, Hamilton doesn't lose his touch. He's a very consistent driver. And I'm not saying that as a Hamilton fan, I'm just saying that as a Formula 1 fan altogether. And I think Vettel, he is feeling the pressure right now, and he needs to do something about it. He needs to respond to Mercedes. Ferrari need to respond to Mercedes, because at the moment, Mercedes are just running away with it. However, having said that, I am predicting Sebastian Vettel to go into 2nd place. Now, his form this season, 4th place in Australia, 5th place in Bahrain, and then his first podium of the season in China. Nowhere near good enough. He should be on the podium every single I'll get my words out. Every single Grand Prix. Win has to be. As like I said, he won 2 races at this stage last season. This season, 1 podium. That is nowhere near good enough. However, his form at the previous Grand Prix go like this. Starting in pole position in 2016, got the fastest lap in 2017, and then got a pole position again in 2018 last season. So that tells me that Sebastian Vettel around here, that is his 1 lap pace is brilliant. However, his race pace around here isn't really that good, and his temperament, if you like, isn't that good. Obviously, judging off what happened in 2017. But I've got faith in Vettel. Don't get me wrong. I think that the car is good. It is quick. I just think that there are a couple of people at Ferrari that haven't really, done their part, if you like, in getting Sebastian Vettel podiums or race wins, or even his teammate Charles Leclerc podiums or race wins, if you like. There is more to be done. Obviously, Ferrari are bringing upgrades to the Grand Prix. I will get onto that towards the end of the preview. But as I said, I do have every single faith in Sebastian Vettel. I think he can salvage something. But for me, Mercedes just look unbeatable, if you like. I mean, as I said, I don't. These are my actual predictions. This is just a blatant guess, because anything could happen in Baku, or anything could happen at any given stage of the season, as we have seen as the past 3 races, or if you stayed awake for obviously the duration of the Chinese Grand Prix last race. And obviously I'm going with race winner Lewis Hamilton. I mean, who else would I predict to win this Grand Prix other than the 5-time world champion? I mean, this guy is just on the form of his life right now. I mean, we always say every single year, coming at the season, oh, has Hamilton lost it? Has Hamilton lost his speed? What's Hamilton going to be like this season? Is he going to retire? Blah, 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 blah. And every single year, he just comes out and just goes, right, I'm Lewis Hamilton. I'm 33 years old, I believe. 34 years old. I'm not too sure on his age. But I'm still got it. I'm still going for that 6th World Championship. Obviously, ever closer to Michael Schumacher's record of 91 wins. He's getting ever closer, as the races go on. And to be fair, I think he will go one race win closer to beating that record this weekend. I mean, just prove me wrong that Hamilton is going to win this Grand Prix. Obviously, unless massive drama unfolds. But for me, Mercedes is just so consistent. Mercedes have been the better team, the better organised. When it comes to under pressure, Mercedes haven't bottled. Ferrari have done. They can't really concentrate on both their drivers. It's almost like Ferrari are prioritising everything on Vettel and not Leclerc, and Mercedes is prioritising both drivers, acting, giving both drivers equal responsibility at this stage of the season because there's no championship to play for yet. Everyone's still in with the shout, but with a Ferrari, they're taking that headline that they did a bit too seriously when they said that they're going to prioritise Vettel over Leclerc already. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, Leclerc has done brilliantly, and he has been on par with Sebastian Vettel. So that tells me that he is up to pace with Sebastian Vettel. And I think this priority thing should just stop. I think they should give Vettel and Leclerc the same priority, getting towards their 1-2 finish, because that's what they need to do. They need to work as a team, not a one-man show. It's not Scuderia Ferrari Sebastian Vettel or Scuderia Ferrari Charles Leclerc. It's Scuderia Ferrari Formula One team. That's the key word there, team. Don't prioritise one driver over the other unless it is under championship circumstances. But right now, it's not. Ferrari are just a million miles away from that. So obviously that's my thoughts, my predictions as well. As like I said, leave your predictions in the comment section below. So I'm now going to hand over to Lyle just for a bit to give his predictions as well and see if you agree with him and see what he has to say on the 2019 Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Well, we have surpassed 1000th Grand Prix, and in this race, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, round 4, it's the 1001 Grand Prix. It's almost like we're starting a new chapter 2 of the Formula 1 book. Obviously, big history. Not the best race to make it 1000, but anyway, and obviously we roll into this race with Lewis Hamilton as the bigger of the lead at the World Championship. Obviously, he made a bigger lead in the Chinese Grand Prix. Obviously, Valtteri Bottas just trails him in the World Championship with a big gap to Verstappen, Vettel and obviously Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel obviously really needs to kind of improve better, like we talked about in the other F1 Debate Show episode that came out the other day. So obviously this is round 4, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix preview. Obviously Chinese Grand Prix, the 1000th Grand Prix, the flyway events, the 3 that were had at the start of the season. Round 4, it's still a flyway event. It's not European Grand Prix, even though it was called that in 2016, but it does feel more of, like a European kind of a, we're in the season, we're quite comfortable, and obviously let's get into it. I think we're 1/5 into the 2019 F1 season as of this race, so let's make it a good one. Obviously, as we always say, we are in the thick of it. So obviously I will be giving you my predictions for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix of 2019. Obviously 2016 and 2017 and 2018 both really kicked up 3 great races in Baku. 2016 was a little bit far on the feet, but it was good just to see the new architecture of the Baku street circuit. 2017, obviously the brake test, and 2018, the Red Bull collision, and obviously Valtteri's puncher closing the end of the race. Obviously made 2 of the great races. Hopefully this race can be obviously the best 4th edition of this Grand Prix, obviously with the wider cars, faster, new drivers. Obviously we've got big experience gaps all around. Obviously, can the new guys, can they make around the circuit in one piece? And obviously, can the old guys really show, that this needs respect and skill? Basically, like just another Monaco, really, a Monaco in probably a bit of a hotter temperature. So obviously, let's dive into this. And in 3rd place, I'm going to be saying it's going to be Charles Leclerc of Ferrari. Now again in China, we didn't see loads of Charles Leclerc and the performance that he could do. Obviously Ferrari were really under the cush, again like we talked about in the Sebastian Vettel episode that came out the other day, episode 111 I think it was, 112 sorry, where obviously we talked about Sebastian Vettel and how he's getting on. But in the Ferrari terms of it, it really was a very strange race for Charles Leclerc. Obviously he did start, he was behind Sebastian Vettel for most of the race. Obviously he was battling through that. He was leading Seb in the first few laps before Seb actually had to get on the radio and tell the team to swap them around. Again, obviously thinking that Sebastian could go after obviously Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, who were ahead. There was big gaps about him. him. Charles Leclerc kind of was sacrificed in his pit stop to try and match Sebastian and obviously the Mercedes guys. Basically used as a bit of a pawn, and again wasn't really he didn't really have to show all of his potential again in China. Obviously we're still living off Bahrain, still living off the disappointment of that, and obviously Australia, which is a street circuit, so which is a street circuit, so we kind of can compare, I guess, Australia and in Baku a little bit. Obviously, he did show his performance there, obviously, as a good driver, new driver in Ferrari, obviously his 21st race in his Formula 1 career. I think in Baku he will do a good race. Ferrari have been good around that street circuit. Again, Charles Leclerc, obviously, new guy, new gun. And one of the reasons why I think that he will outperform Sebastian Vettel is the fact that he is from Monaco. Again, obviously, growing up on those streets as well. I mean, I know Seb has driven them. Obviously, he's driven them for 12 years, and obviously longer in his junior Formula categories, racing around Monaco. But just growing around those streets, I think that will help Charles Leclerc. Again, obviously, as I say, Monaco, very similar in the terms of the barriers. It's no, it's a track that just takes no prisoners. The barriers, the walls will catch you out. For example, like we saw with Max Verstappen in Monaco, a few years ago. I think he retired from the race on 2016 in the Toro Rosso, and 2015 in the Toro Rosso, and 2016 in the Red Bull, and again crashed in qualifying 2017. So I know it's not Baku, but the walls can be very unforgiving. So I think that Charles Leclerc will have a very good third place. In second place, I'm going to go for the championship leader of Lewis Hamilton. Now, he has had some good races around Baku. So the most memorable for me was 2017 when he had the brake test incident with Sebastian Vettel. It just added a lot more spice. To be honest, the whole spice of that race. Obviously, last year he was there to pick up the pieces of Mercedes' victories when Valtteri Bottas did have that puncture, but it just made it so great for the Mercedes pairing. Lewis Hamilton, obviously, as I just said at the start, leading the World Championship over Seb, who again, we're not picking on him, but we have mentioned him a lot, and obviously we will mention him a bit more. This championship lead is slipping. It is a lot more. I think it's around 35, 40 points, something like that. Again, he's obviously behind Max Verstappen as well. Obviously, third place Max Verstappen in the World Championships. Obviously, he won't want to stay there. He will want to, overtake him, overtake Valtteri, and get back to obviously where he was, battling Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, in this season. Again, he has had some great starts to the seasons before. This year hasn't been that. And I was saying before in the Chinese preview, it's only round 3 at that point. It's only round 4 in this race, but he almost could be saying, bye to the World Championship. It's a big gap. It's so early on in the stage. But obviously Lewis Hamilton, I think he will do quite well around here. Obviously Mercedes, not the best team around Baku, but they will do well. Obviously Lewis Hamilton will be living off, that big gap that he has to Sebastian Vettel. But the big guy that he's got to watch out for, and the guy that I'm going to say is going to win the Grand Prix, is his teammate of Valtteri Bottas. Now he's the guy who Lewis has really got to watch out for this year. He's only a few points behind him in the World Championship. He has taken the fastest lap. Obviously Lewis Hamilton hasn't. I mean, Pierre Gasly did, in China. And Charles Leclerc did in Bahrain. So Lewis definitely wants to win the fastest lap. Hasn't yet, so I guess Valtteri has that over Lewis. He's only trailing by a few points. And Valtteri Bottas is definitely going to be there. Obviously, race winner, won in Australia. Again, Lewis will have seen that and he'll be thinking, well, hang on a minute, I'm the 5-time world champion. The team is almost built around me, and I've got almost 3 times the wins of Valtteri. How come he is beating us? Obviously, the last 2 races, normal permutations when obviously Lewis has beaten Valtteri, and it became sort of a 1-2 like normal. But I do feel in this race it will go back to Valtteri Bottas being at the top now. Obviously in 2018 he was set to win the race. Obviously he had a late puncture which hindered his chances. Obviously went from the front to the back in 1 lap. I was actually just watching the replay just a few moments ago. Obviously really frustrating for him. Obviously after all of what had happened in that race, for example like the Red Bulls taking each other out, so that was obviously one less team to worry about. Sebastian Vettel did have problems in that race, so again that was one less problem to worry about. And again Lewis was leading the championship, and Valtteri and Lewis were obviously leading Mercedes in the constructors. Obviously happy in 2018, but obviously Valtteri Bottas did have it all to lose, unfortunately, with that unfortunate puncture which he got from running over the Red Bulls debris that they left a few laps ago. But I do think that he'll win the race, again doing really well. Street circuits haven't been his speciality before. He did take his first win in Sochi, which is a little bit of a street circuit. It's classed as a street circuit, so is Canada in Montreal. So I put them in the same category as a street circuit, but it is only kept for racing compared to like Singapore, Monaco, which obviously are used for other things. So it is a street circuit. It is stop-start, but it's a little bit more greener, if that makes sense. Valtteri Bottas, yes, win the race. Not much to say about that. I do think that he will have a strong win. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton obviously coming in second place. That's 25-18. It will be very tight. Valtteri Bottas might take the lead of the World Championship this race. But in my predictions, I'm going to say yes, he is, and I'm going to say that he's also going to take the fastest lap. So there we go, obviously, there we go. I've said Charles Leclerc in third, Lewis Hamilton in second, and Valtteri Bottas in first place. Valtteri will take the fastest lap as well around the circuit. Really impressed to see what the Finn can do. I've taken a real liking to him in the last few races, but obviously I'm not jumping on the Valtteri bandwagon yet. I still think Lewis is going to be a big contender. But in terms of championship contenders, I can change my mind now and say that it's going to be Valtteri Bottas is going to be Lewis's main rival and not Seb. Again, I know it's early to say, but that's just my opinion. I think that Valtteri Bottas will be the guy Lewis Hamilton will have to look over his shoulder to. Again, very much obviously like Nico and Lewis a few years ago. Obviously, that is my top three. Daniel Ricciardo of Renault, I do think that he will have a good race around here. Again, so he was there to pick up the pieces in 2017, take one of his last wins in Formula 1, one of his sweetest as well. He was really, really ecstatic when he crossed the line and he won the race. See, Valtteri did podium in that race alongside a certain Lance Stroll. He won't be in the top 10, unfortunately, or I'm not going to count him very high up. But again, Daniel Ricciardo, I'm hoping he'll have a good race. I would like to say fourth place, but that will be very, very hard for him. Pierre Gasly of Red Bull, he had a very strong race in China, taking the fastest lap as well. One position behind Max Verstappen, really, really strong. We wrote him out the first two races, but thankfully he was there in China to really do a great performance. And I say fastest lap, he has to beat Lewis outright on pace, and he did that. So that was really, really great from him. Hopefully a strong top 10 for them. Hopefully a strong top 10 for Max, probably about 5th place for Max. They both retired, obviously, from the race last year, Verstappen and Ricciardo, after they collided on going down into turn 1, obviously after that really long DRS-aided straight. Williams, probably the back of the grid for Racing Point. Hopefully a good race, maybe one of them in the top 10, possibly both, I don't know. McLaren will be a strong race, I'm hoping. Again, I hope reliability really can hang on. Lando Norris, obviously, is one of our favourite prodigies to watch at the moment. Obviously, Jordan is a big fan of him. I know Carlos Sainz is a good guy to watch. Obviously, Lando really has a great British backing. Again, hoping that they can get some good, decent points from that. But the big team, I just want to quickly mention, is Haas. Now, they have had a really abysmal start to the season. Roman Grosjean is a real driver that I want to just really give loads of support to. Again, also K-Mag, but Roman Grosjean, I don't know what is happening to him at the moment. Haas just don't seem to be on the money like they were before. I'm hoping that they can have a good race, but it's not down to the pace of the drivers. It's obviously down to the reliability of the car. It's very stop-start. It's a green street circuit, obviously used normally on the streets of Baku. But I'm hoping that Haas will hang on and have a good performance. Toro Rosso, yes, hopefully they'll have a good race like China. I don't think it'll be points finishes for Alexander Albon like it was last time. Obviously a well-deserved driver of the day as well, just to quickly mention. But I'm hoping that they will have a good finish, possibly just missing out on the points, but nevertheless very, very strong for the future to come. Danny Kvyat obviously made some mistakes in China that he will definitely want to rectify. But Alex Albon for Toro Rosso really flying the flag in a really good way. So that is obviously my predictions for Azerbaijan. Leclerc in third place, Lewis Hamilton in second place, and Valtteri Bottas in first. Obviously, make sure to leave your comments down in the comment section, your top 3 or your top 10. Let me know what you think about my predictions as well. Hopefully you agree with Jordan's. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed the video, and we hope you enjoy Azerbaijan on Sunday.
So do you agree with our predictions? Obviously, let us know in the comment section below. So as I was saying beforehand, Ferrari are bringing some minor upgrades to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which is probably needed, to be fair. I mean, the team manager Binotto even said that this is critical for us in our championship push to reignite our championship challenge, and that's pretty much an understatement, if you like, because like I said, Ferrari are just on the back foot right now. They are a million miles away from Mercedes' performance, if you like. Race pace, don't get me wrong, the car is quick, and I think that the car is on pace with the Mercedes. It's just how you turn that pace into a race win, because yeah, you might have the fastest car, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the Grand Prix or even win the championship. Like we seen last season, I've always said Ferrari had the faster car, but Mercedes worked the better team to win that championship, and that's what happened. And Ferrari need to take a leaf out of Mercedes' book if they do want to win another championship, either in the drivers or either in the constructors. So I think it's I think it's about little aero upgrades that they are bringing to this track. I think power as well. I think they're going to bring some power upgrades as well towards the power unit, which again is heavily needed in Baku, because if you have the faster car, it will help you, especially in sector 1 and sector 3. Sector 2, obviously, if your car is good in the corners like the Mercedes is, then you might gain quite a good advantage there. But obviously, if you are good on the straights like you are in the Ferrari, then obviously that's where you're going to gain most of your time. So I think qualifying is going to be quite good, because I think Mercedes will be on the back foot in the straight, but then you come into the corners, you know what Hamilton's like. He'll put it on the line. He'll put it in in really good positions of the car. Get out with no wheel spin whatsoever. Get brilliant control of the car. Hopefully gain some time that he lost or that he's going to lose in sector 3, and obviously gain some time that he lost in sector 1 on the straight. But to be fair, I think qualifying is going to be it is going to be critical for both Mercedes and Ferrari. And to be fair, pole position wise, for me, Hamilton is key on pole position. But I'm not going to rule out Sebastian Vettel just yet, because as like I said, that car is quick, and as like I said, Sebastian Vettel has got pole position twice here. And I think that he might go for a third time. His one lap pace around here is pretty good, so I wouldn't rule him out for pole position, despite his not very good form, if you like. But one team I'm going to quickly give a mention before I close this preview out is Red Bull. Well, not so much Red Bull as a team, but one driver in particular, and that's of course Max Verstappen, currently sitting in third place on 39 points, 2 points ahead of four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. As things stand for me, Max Verstappen is currently my driver of the season. He's been very impressive for me. He's shown some really good speed, the speed that we expected him to have. Because when he came into the sport in 2015, 17 years old, that's no age. 17 years old and you're in the world of Formula 1. That is mental. So everyone was like, oh, is it too early? Is it this? Is it that? A lot of people doubting him. A lot of people hyping him up a lot. Don't get me wrong, I was one of those people. I did overreact, because seeing someone come in with raw speed as well, and obviously you're potentially seeing a future world champion, if you like, a future Formula 1 great. So it is exciting, and obviously yes, you do jump on the bandwagon straight away, like I did. But I've learnt my lesson. I've calmed down a bit. I am still excited about Verstappen, and as like I said, he has shown some really good consistency this season in a car that isn't really good. Well, it is good, but it's not quite Mercedes and Ferrari level, but it's not quite Renault level. It's literally like Mercedes and Ferrari are here, and Red Bull are in no man's land. Like, they're not too slow to go in the midfield, but not too quick to go into the top 2, if you like. And obviously, I think they've pretty much cemented third place. I mean, they could even grab second place if Ferrari keep doing what they're doing and keep slipping up. But I'm very impressed with Verstappen, because as like I said, he has made some stupid errors. 2016, 2017, and obviously last season as well. Obviously spinning in Australia as well, and then obviously making their contact with Sebastian Vettel in China last year, and then coming to terms with his teammate in Baku last year, again adding to more drama. That won't be the case this season, and obviously I don't really know whose fault that was even to this day. I don't really want to say anything. To be fair, it was just one of those things. If you like, obviously, if you have your own opinion, obviously leave it in the comment section below. And I think don't rule Max Verstappen out for not only a podium but for a race win, because if we have the same drama like we did in the last in the last Azerbaijan Grand Prix, 2017 and 2018. Then and let's say both Mercedes retire and the Ferraris are just nowhere near the pace as what we are going to be expecting, as like we did in China. Then I think Max Verstappen is going to be there to pick up the pieces and claim the race win, which would be, I think that'd be unbelievable for me. And again, it'll be Honda's first win since, I don't really want to say that, probably since 2006. I don't know. I think when Jensen Button won, I think that was when the last win was. As an engine manufacturer, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I am right though. And obviously, coming, I think for me, Red Bull is just proving that a lot of that was wrong. Don't obviously don't get me wrong on that one, because Honda did have a bit of a bad reputation with McLaren. Went to Toro Rosso, kind of like stabilised the reputation. Red Bull came in and just ironed out a lot of creases that Honda had, and now they've got some consistent form. Hopefully, obviously, I'm not saying they're going to win for the championship, but maybe next season they could have a shout. And if 2021, if they do stay with Honda, which I'm predicting they won't, but let's say they do, I think they might push on and actually claim more championships and get Red Bull back to where they once were. So, like I said, don't rule out Verstappen. Don't rule out even Charles Leclerc. He might get a race win. He's been quite consistent, so don't rule him out. Don't rule anybody out for this race win. Nico Hulkenberg, George Russell. All right, I know that was a bit too far, but let's be optimistic here, guys. So obviously that's where I'm gonna wrap up this preview. Thank you very much for watching as well. If you're new around here, then please like and subscribe as well. Obviously, go and follow us on our social medias: Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's all down below us here. And in a couple of days' time, we are releasing the F1 debate for episode 113. So go and check that out. When it gets released at 6 p.m. UK time as well. Go and check out our last debate show as well on episode 112. That's a good one as well. And obviously, all episodes will be on icons, or maybe in front of you right now. Also, as like I said, guys, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.